Hi guys, good evening. You're watching a special here on CNBC-TV18. We are in conversation today with the new head for American Express Bank in India, Manoj Adlakha. Manoj, many congratulations.
Thank you, Ronojoy.
How's life been since your appointment?
Life's been good, hectic, yes.
Lot of travel?
Lot of travel, but enjoying myself thoroughly.
Tell me then, you're taking over at an important time where, the digital disruption, so to speak, is changing, is forcing us to unlearn the way we've understood banking for years. Talk to me a little bit about this. What has been the impact like for American Express?
Sure. So, November 9th was the day of demonetization. And the way we look at it, it was a reset moment. It was a reset moment. And thereon, it's going to change radically the way payments are looked at in India. When we look at demonetization, it fits in very well with the objective. The objective of demonetization was to move towards a cashless society.
That's right, yeah.
And this is completely aligned with the goals that we have at American Express. The goals that we have at American Express is how do we take away cash from consumer and corporate expenses. There was a cash
thereby
crunch.
reduce the transaction cost in
Absolutely.
general.
Just to that point, when you look at the cost of cash, and there are different estimates around cost of cash is estimated to be about 1.7 to 1.8% of GDP. Now that's very high. So with this measure in place, the idea is to bring that down.
So what has it been like for American Express then? Are you, in terms of, because you're also, of course, focusing on the digital fora in a very significant way. So what has it been like for your business in terms of the online traction that you're seeing since November 8th, 9th that you're talking about?
So, just going back to the November 8th, 9th thing, a couple of things happened. And those events are very important for all of us to take into consideration. One was, as we all know, there was a cash crunch, which was out there in the market for a limited period of time. And this was coupled with a lot of interventions that were brought in by the government. And those interventions were fabulous as we now see them. Let me start and talk through a few of them. One of the interventions which the government said was that, you as an industry should double the number of terminals. These are the terminals which are, deployed at merchant locations. So it took, I think, about 30 to 35 years to reach a number of 1.4 million. That was the number we were sitting at on 8th of November. So that was a number which the industry had put together over the last 30, 35 years. And the target which was given to us was that in the next 4 months, you will have to add an incremental million terminals. So whatever it had taken us 30, 35 years to do, the mandate given to us as an industry body was to add another million terminals. And the good thing is we've gone ahead and done it. The industry has done it.
So the amount of terminals that were added in the last 30 years have been added since November 8th?
In the last 4 months, absolutely.
Oh my God, okay.
Yes. So that's
staggering.
That is staggering, exactly. So that was one of the measures. The other thing which the government put in place was, they said, how do we, from a payments ecosystem, how do we get more and more merchants to warmly accept the card? And they put a few measures in place. So one measure which was, again, absolutely astounding in terms of think-through was, and it's a global first, it's called the Bharat QR. And QR stands for Quick Response. Over here, what happened was that this is network agnostic, and it makes any small merchant, small or micro merchant, who hitherto were not comfortable accepting the card because of the cost involved, now can do so because all they need is a phone, a smartphone. That's it. They don't need anything more than that. So that is something, it's a global first. It got launched, right? And since then, we've already seen a huge number of merchants. This happened sometime in, 4 to 5 months ago. A huge number of merchants have already got onboarded on this. Then, going on with the incentives, because the whole purpose was to get, like I said, smaller merchants, onboarded and getting into the payment ecosystem, there were tax incentives being provided for lower value transactions. So what the government said was if the value of the transaction is below 2,000, there would be a service tax exemption given to the merchant. That was another good thing. Then in certain cases, the government also felt that there was a lot of friction in certain payments. So as an example, what they put in place was that in case of an online payment, right, if the amount was again below a certain threshold, in this case less than 2,000 rupees, there would be no second factor authentication required.
Right.
Now that has again spurred the movement. So a lot of people...
So it fast tracks the process.
Exactly. It fast tracks the process, and more people become comfortable in using this. And, you know, one or two other things that are straight away coming to mind is petrol. Now, all of us, you know, there's a lot of people who drive cars, right, or scooters for that matter. Now, fuel is a very big expense item. So what the government actually did is that they said, if you are going to get fuel filled through a digital mechanism, which is through a card, whether it's a credit card or a debit card, we will give you, if it's in, you know, in any of the government-owned petrol pumps, from the oil company, a 0.75% rebate or a cashback is being provided. That was another big, you know...
Yes, sort of reorienting the incentive system to sort of push digital payments.
Absolutely. So, you know, these have all spurred the movement. And what has this done? And maybe I'm missing out on one or two, but, you know, these itself have made a dramatic difference. And when we look back from November to now, if I was to take two data points, if I was to take March 2017 and I was to compare that with March 2016, there has been an increase in terms of value of transactions. And now I'm talking about at the industry level, which is credit cards, debit cards, and mobile wallets. The number of transactions that we had in March 2017. March 2017, these are, you know, data points which, which is available with RBI and published by RBI, because they aggregate from all the you know, players in the market. There was a 3x increase in terms of number of transactions. That's huge, right? Over the same period exactly a year ago. That's in terms of number of transactions, and 2x in terms of increase in terms of value of transactions, because more and more people started coming in to the payments ecosystem. That is when you look at credit cards, debit cards, and mobile wallets. But you look at credit cards alone, that also has seen a 1.5x increase. So if it was X a year ago, now it's become 1.5x.
Across all categories, we are seeing a spurt.
Across all categories, we are seeing an increase. And when you look at credit cards now, what we have seen is, if I was to look at just even a month pre-demonetization, if I were to look at, let's say, October or November of 2016, we were doing at an industry level, and these are all in the public domain, RBI data at an industry level would have done, you know, on a monthly basis, we were doing, I think, about $4 billion of transactions at point of sale, credit card transactions. That number now has hit a new normal of $5.1 billion in 4 months, right? So it's a huge seismic change.
And you're one of the beneficiaries now of this of this larger, you know, change that's happening. So tell me, in terms of your business growth, what is I mean, how will it change, let's say, this financial year vis-a-vis what it was last financial year?
We are seeing a significant increase. Our billings are, you know, when I look at full year 2016 versus full year 2015, and I'm talking about calendar year here, the market grew at, I'm talking about credit cards because we're not in the debit card business. On the credit card front, the market grew at 31%. We grew at 33%, so we outpaced the market. And we
both years, 2015 and 2016?
2016 over 2015.
2016, right.
So, you know, we outpaced the market.
How do you see 2017?
So 2017 is, again, we are off to a fantastic start. It's just, you know, we are 4 months into the year. We are off to a very, very healthy start. And we are confident that with some of the measures which I just spoke about, which have been put in place, this is going to be here to stay.
So are you another 30% plus growth, or will that be now on because the base denominator
of
is
course
growing,
keeps increasing, but you know, the other thing which we've also seen is that while the base increases, there are, you know, two ways in which your billings increase. One is you attract new card members into the franchise, which is what we are doing pretty, you know, aggressively. The second is a lot more merchants are also coming into the franchise, and that is a phenomenon we have seen post demonetization, where if I were to look at the number of merchants that we had maybe, you know, 12 months ago to the number of merchants we have now, that number if that was X, now we are at 1.8X.
It's almost doubled.
Yes.
All right.
So it's not even, these changes are absolutely phenomenal.